the one thing to carry this team to a touchdown, to tie this game late. He made the mistake, and you just cannot do that. The loss can't be on him.
Yeah, and that was just a really basic football 101 play, and he couldn't see it, didn't read it, and here we are. All right, Mina, the Bills are the NFL's first 3-0 team. They did say, Josh Allen said afterwards, they do have room for improvement. Well, what's your biggest takeaway from them last night?
Yeah, I mean, people always talk about, they don't have elite receivers. They have an elite run game, and it is a joy to watch. Dan talked about this. They do everything. Inside zone, outside zone, duo, gap. They do it all at a very high level. Everybody blocks. The tight end, Jackson Haas, who's a part of their 13 personnel grouping, is moving bodies out there. By the way, yell football. And then on top of all of this, they have a running back in James Cook who takes what is already a great run game and then elevates it. Going back and watching his explosives, I am just constantly amazed by his vision. I think he might have the best vision, by the way, right now of any back in the NFL. He seems to always find the exact right path, the exact right moment to press, and then he creates after the fact. The only thing I would say, Allen said they want to improve on something. I'd like to see an explosive passing attack, maybe a play action passing attack built off of this run game because defenses are so afraid of it, but that's not something that they needed last night.
Yeah, MK, I'm along lines with you. And Dan, stay out of me and Mina business. You were supposed to be talking about the Dolphins, all right? Let us have the Bills. We know you love to wax poetic about the Buffalo Bills. Here's the thing, man. We last night watching that game, and I understand what you're saying, Mina, about the explosive passing game. But I do love something that Josh Allen is doing, and he's been a distributor when needed. Like, there'll be games where they'll have to try to blow the top off. But his ball distribution and how many people he's getting involved in this passing game, in the jet sweep game, in the passing game in the middle of the field. This team is as complete as I've ever seen them. And I know that's saying a lot. They played a lot of great football. And we talked about Josh Allen and what he does so much. But this offense is so mature, and they understand situational football as well as anybody in the NFL. That's what's so impressive about what this offense is doing behind Josh Allen and Joe Brady.
Yeah, and 6 first downs on throws outside the pocket, most of anybody in the NFL. In Philly on Sunday, playoff rematch between the Eagles and the Rams, both teams at 2-0. So let's build out a play sheet presented by ESPN Sportsbook, and we're going to do it with the one, the only Swagoo. All right, so we're going to start with Matthew Stafford, Swagoo. Over under 1.5 passing touchdowns. What do you think?
I'm going over. Matthew Stafford throws 2 touchdowns before he steps out of bed in the morning. And we've seen this Philadelphia Eagles secondary give up some plays on the back end. So I expect him and Puka Nacua and obviously Devontae to see that end zone more than 1.5 times.
Okay, this is a good one. Over under 90.5 rushing yards for Saquon.
One of the most difficult ones I've had in a minute. I'm going under.
Whoa.
But I had in the back of my mind, it only takes one run for him to get at least halfway there with his explosion. But I think the Rams are going to try to make Jalen Hurts throw this football downfield in order to beat him. And they also have to be careful of Jalen legs, which I think can be more devastating than Saquon out of the backfield. I'm going to go under for 90.5 yards.
Well,
not
that is
all
bold.
purpose.
Bold.
Just rushing yards.
Okay. Oh, just rushing yards. Because yards from scrimmage is a whole other story. Okay. Over under 63.5 receiving yards for our guy, A.J. Brown.
I'm going over. I got to believe that A.J. has 7 to 8 books in his locker, and he's probably going to bring them all out to the game in order to get him involved and let him start putting his stamp on these games. He's too good of a player not to at some point explode. What would a better time be than against the Los Angeles Rams, a team that everyone expects to be there in the playoffs, and these teams potentially have to see each other again. He wants to remind them. I'm going over for A.J. Brown.
By the way, this is crazy. You know, the Eagles are the only team in the NFL without a passing touchdown. That is just wild going into week 3. Swagoo, with everything you just said, a $10 bet wins you just over 46. I like it. I like it. Okay, right now, ESPN Bet customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 bet. Score more from the game with the Sportsbook for sports fans. Sign up with the promo code LIVE to get started today. All right, let's go to the other team in Pennsylvania. We have the Steelers at the Patriots. It's very interesting to see how Aaron Rodgers handles this Patriots pressure. The 41-year-old has more sacks under pressure this season than he does completions, and his quarterback rating, which is on a scale of 0 to 100, just in case y'all forgot, it's a 6. The Patriots have a league-high 9 sacks this season. And look who's here. She is the Steelers. She is our Brooke Pryor. She's with them every day, knows them better than anybody. They're coming off that tough loss to the Seahawks. What's the vibe around Pittsburgh right now?
Well, Hannah, Aaron Rodgers isn't exactly spelling out relax by any means, but that is the vibe that he's giving off. Earlier this week, he talked about it not being a binary system, that they should be measuring success and not in wins and losses, although that is how the NFL measures success. But that wasn't Rodgers' message to the locker room. And I was out at practice earlier this week. Thursday, I thought, was the best day of practice the Steelers have had in a long, long time. I am not permitted to tell you exactly what was happening, but I can generally tell you the vibes were good. The music was loud. The sun was shining. There wasn't like a rainbow over the Monongahela or anything like that. But I do think that this team is not panicking. And while there is frustration on the defense, it's not the woe is us frustration that I felt at the end of last season. But I
don't care if the sun's shining. I don't care if the radio loud. You know what I used to hear that was loud in Pittsburgh? When the pads popped from the defensive line, when the linebackers inverted the line of scrimmage and played on the offensive side of the ball. When every time I watched a running back play the Pittsburgh Steelers, that if it was Breece Hall, if it was Kenneth Walker III, they didn't look like Fred Taylor, LaDainian Tomlinson, and Adrian Peterson. The first week of the season, you had me thinking that freaking Justin Fields and Breece Hall were going to be Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. And then Kenneth Walker, who can't gain an inch in week 1 against San Francisco, absolutely goes off and calls game when I felt like they were just trying to run some clock. It's not about Aaron Rodgers, and I know we want to focus on that. It's about everybody else playing better around him on the defensive side of the ball, in the protection, running the right routes, being in the right place, creating a run game. The Pittsburgh Steelers need wholesale changes right now. And I'm not talking about roster. I'm talking about attitude and execution if they expect to beat this team this week, because Ramondre Stevenson and Travion Henderson are coming, and Drake May is on the ascend.
Yeah, very fair point. That defense has been underperforming, certainly to what we expected and what the standard is in Pittsburgh. And let's talk about Drake May, who had his career-high passer rating in week 2. Dana, what do you expect?
Yeah, Hannah, I think in week 2, he showed remnants of a young Josh Allen, remnants of a young Ben Roethlisberger. I think some of the things that I liked out of that performance in conjunction with Josh McDaniels was, one, he allowed the young man's athleticism to be at the forefront of the game. And throws on the run were a big deal. I think empowering him at the line of scrimmage allowed him to get into some better plays. That led to really good decision-making by Drake May, and it allowed him to become a playmaker, a weapon for this football team. That's kind of who he is athletically. If that's the version, like if this is the baseline of what Drake May is going to be for New England moving forward in a still undermanned offensive unit, not only do the Steelers have a problem defensively, but so does the AFC East and the AFC. This was the best game of Drake May's career. This should be who he is in the springboard to year 2.
All right, let's check out our picks for this one. Swagoo is back and is the only one on the Patriots. Why, Swagoo? Real quick.
Because of what RC just talked about. Listen, I know that there are big-time names over there in that Steelers defense, but those guys look so detached from each other. They're not playing as a unit. You still see the individual greatness with TJ Watt. We saw Jalen Ramsey obviously make plays at end of games, but I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's as simple as everybody just doing their job. That's the first thing you want to get back to when you're struggling as a defense, is every man be one of 11 and take care of your space. But right now, they struggling. I think Drake May and this offense is ascending in New England.
And you know what's crazy? They've lost their last 4 games in Foxborough by an average of 20 points.
We don't play well there. I thought it was Tom Brady, but it's not. It's not Tom Brady.
You know, the sun might be shining at Pittsburgh. NFL Live, some conflicting reports out of Dallas. Oh, no, we are going to the Chargers. I apologize. That's for later, and I'm sure that comes as no surprise. Chargers finally get to open at SoFi. How their play action could decide this matchup. Justin Herbert has been arguably the best in the NFL on play action throws this season, ranking top 3 in yards, QBR, and touchdowns. That Broncos defense has yet to allow a touchdown on play action. You know, it's a really interesting week because we have these 2-0 Chargers, a real opportunity. They have 3 straight division games to start